So both the 154s vapor locked. Both of them did. So they're equal.
Huh?
They're equal in the sense they both vapor locked. So both these guys, both Bob's and mine, vapor locked, and we put them in the shade for the same period of time, and they fired up just about the same, didn't they? Yep, figure that one out. And everyone says it's about auto-tuned. So Jason down in Georgia, that's the saw he's looking for?
Yep.
That thing runs good. Of course, they all did. Now, wasn't that a 48 millimeter? No, was that a 50 or a 48 millimeter?
50.
That's a 50?
The 630 is the 48.
Okay. All right. We continue. I think we're going to let the little 154 rest a little more. The L78 did not show any signs of change. You know, we realize we've done a lot of stuff on 372 and a lot of the other saws, but we've never really gone back into Husqvarna history, even though we went back into Jonsered history. So
in my area, the Jonsered brand was a lot stronger when a lot of this history was being read. I mean, most of these 70Es and 52Es and stuff that we've been playing with over years came from the same guy. So, L77, Jonsered dealer back in, I think he started in 71, 72. And we lost Al about 3 years ago, I think. But I still know his son Danny, and there's and this ain't like for commerce or anything else, but there's just containers of stuff up there, and it's all red. Up on the farm there. So,
what do we got here?
This is a couple steps up. There was 5 different saws that used the same top end, and this is another picture of it here. There was started out with the 77. You could actually say 6 because there was an A77 and an L77. And then it went to the 180, the 280, the 380, and the 480. I have a 480 too. I didn't bring it.
I got one around somewhere.
Yeah, but just you could, that's with that weird
guy put a plumbing pipe right
handle there. So this is just some of as things started to change a little bit. There's actually a video on the Husky site. Here again, I don't know if it's a dealer-only video, but Walt was talking before about separating the fluids from the crankcase. And this is one of the things that they did was, and it went back and forth a couple times. So too much heat and this type of a design getting into the fluids and would cause some issues, and there's still some of that can happen with the 70Es. They never, obviously that stayed in that style there where the case and the oil tank and the fuel tank is all the same thing. So then when they went to these, one of the updates was like, well, we got to get the gas the hell away from the crankcase. So now you see they've separated, they separate the tank, and they got both fluids out of there. Still got the gas up here and the oil down here, so the same basic, everything's in the same general direction from each other, but they separated this so you don't get all that heat from the crankcase. But then they realized, well, it's good to get the gas out, but maybe not as good to get the oil out. So when they started coming out with these, especially in the winter, you know what? It's actually good to keep the oil warm. So then they went back, keep the gas separate, but then we're going to put the oil back in the case. So that's why it bounced around from both in the case, then they took them both out, and it's like oil stays in the case, and they still do it obviously that way today.
So who was
that's why that stuff started bouncing around.
Who was the first company to do this layout, which is now the common layout for all saws, where they have the gas in the handle and the oil in the crankcase?
I really don't know. To tell you the truth, from the video, there's kind of like saying they did it. But I really can't say myself because I'm not that familiar with the history of the other brands and stuff.
Yeah. Well, it's now the standard. I mean, you can go over here and look at the, well, I may have put them away, but I had a 565 in there. And of course the 2171 is that configuration. Pretty much all the saws ever since have got that layout where the bar oil's in the case and gas is in the handle. I happen to like that old beast right there. I have fun with it.
I didn't feel like we were going to mess with big saws, but you go up from this chassis up to like the 285, and the 285 is pretty similar to the 2100. So that's for another. That thing runs really nice. That runs really nice, but the truth is, as we're getting older, the big saw thing, it's kind of cool and it's kind of fun to play with them, but to work with them, it's a whole different ballgame. And unless we're into like really big wood, like we did that giant maple down there, like 3 years ago, whatever. Yeah. I'm not into like running a saw that's way bigger than I need it to be.
Yeah. Well, that L77 runs at a lower RPM, but put like an 8-pin sprocket on it, the chain speed comes up. It's not far off a modern 65, 70cc saw in real cut time. I I mean, it's not there, but it's not that far off.
Some of that thing, like the 365 and the 372, part of that cylinder tuning is the power comes on a little lower, a little sooner.
On the 365.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you got more, maybe more top end with the other one. But just about all the, like the 70Es that you find laying around have 8-pin ribs on them, you get the speed up. Because those things only go to like
10 grand.
like 11.
Yeah.
And they don't really, not supposed to wind them out.
Well, the transfers are small. They make good power where they run, but you're not going to get the RPMs out of them with the tiny transfers. That's really the big thing. And we look at the 372, that was when the transfer ports started getting really big. Anyway. So this chain that I was using on this saw right here to cut through these really hard ash logs, I have no idea what it is. It wasn't the sharpest, so I'd put a little bit of a sharpening on it with this thing right here before we start noodling. But Bob looked at it too and he goes, I have no idea what that stuff is. It's a semi-chisel, it's not a full chisel. And it's got that goofy double raker deal right there, so cuts wood, right? I'll run it until it can't run anymore. He's going to look at it a little closer and see if we can figure out what it is. Bob can't identify it. It's unidentifiable.
Well, I kind of got glasses. This is Husky chain.
Is it?
It's got an 83 on it.
Yeah, but it doesn't look like C83 that I got. I'll go look at the other one because they must have...
It's not C83. Well, this is weird.
Yeah.
Is it the junk that comes on the ranchers?
Probably, yeah. It's definitely not C83 because it's a semi-chisel, not a full chisel.
It's a little bit of rancher chain.
Well,
Oh, it's working. Look, it's
cut all this up and didn't win any races, but it didn't come back and kick me in the gut either. I was able to get through all this. Just goes to show, old saw, goofy chain, still can cut wood. You know, some point in time I'll probably do a video about overanalyzing everything, because we do.
not us.
Not us, right? It was like that 154 I have where I went down to Tractor Supply and got a bar and chain for it. It cuts just fine. You know, cheap crap. Probably spent 30-40 bucks on it. And cuts just fine. But you know, for the purist it's not the best, but for what we do it's working just fine. What's that?
It wasn't really even the right plug. It was a CJ6Y. I said, this doesn't even look right. But I put the new plug in and went on the first pull. So you see where you start trying to get too analytical, like what is it about 154? I had the wrong plug in it.
Mine's probably the same then, right?
Could be. Yeah, but it's unusual to fix a saw by changing a plug. Did it happen now? That's twice it happened today.
Yeah, that one made a huge difference. It actually runs now. Yeah, that thing runs pretty good. Like Bob said, he changed the plug on that 154 and it lit right off. And I put a plug in that one, it actually runs. It was not going to run before. Yeah, well.
I mean, it's, well, that plug A, it was an old plug. B, it wasn't even the right plug.
Oh, I see.
So I don't know what the deal was with that, but.
Well, I guarantee you that whatever was in there was whatever I could scratch up. It was a Champion.
Yes, so was mine.
You're kidding me.
No.
They're both Champions. They both failed.
Yeah.
Well, that's a trend.
Yeah.
All right. That thing runs, that cuts a lot better. Maybe a goofy chain, but it obviously cuts better once it got sharpened. That made a difference. That's a useful chain. It's not going to win any cookie cut races, but it cuts that wood. Right?
Well, yeah, it's getting work done. That's really the only thing that really matters.
All right, I'm going to shut this.